So, my friend, I want to ask you, have you been listening to some of my podcasts for a while and identified for yourself all the areas that you feel your business could be better in? Maybe you just are so busy you haven't yet mastered the working as much as you like bit. Or maybe you're just not bringing in the money, like you're struggling with the income, or it's just not enough. Well, it's time for us to have a conversation. In the show notes, there is a link to my evolution call. If you're a dance boss and you are ready to take action, let's have a chat and let's see where I can take you. Hello and welcome, lovelies, to the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. My name is Deborah Laws, the dance business expert. My passion is to help you turn your passion into profit while guiding you to work less and earn more. I'm super excited to share interviews with you that I know will inspire and motivate you in your schools, as well as my solo shows where I shall be sharing some great tips and strategies. So if you love the show, please do remember to review, subscribe and share it with your fellow dance boss friends. So let's get stuck into the business of dance. Welcome everybody to this episode of the Ultimate Dance Business Podcast. I'm really excited because the last couple of episodes that I've recorded with a guest interviewer have been very much people like yourself, people that do what you do and walk in your shoes and have just got really great stories to share. So I want to introduce you today to a lovely lady called Debbie Elwell. Debbie, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Now, I can hear straight away you're a Southerner. Whereabouts are you from, Debbie?
Well, there's a little bit of a debate here because it's Bromley. So is it Kent or is it South East London? My postal address is London Borough. So I'd say South East London today.
Okay, well, you definitely sound like a Southerner to anyone who's listening from up north. And, you know, I'd love to know, I'm sure everybody would love to know a little bit more about you. So could you first of all tell all my lovely listeners, tell me about who is Debbie, and then we'll talk about the business that you run. So tell me a little bit about just you. Are you a mom? Are you a Ferb and Bailey mom? Like, about you.
So I have two beautiful girls, Harper, who's 6, and Penelope, who is 2. Penelope keeps me on my toes. 2-year-olds are wild. I'm also a fur mama, first and foremost, really. My oldest little puggy is 13. I've got pugs, and I've got Dalton, who's currently chasing cats in the garden. I like going to Pilates. That's my outlet that I always do. I go a couple of times a week. I'm bright and bubbly. I always like a chat. I always like to meet new people and learn new things.
Gorgeous, lovely. And I think we can get that vibe from you already. So we're going to have a lovely chat today. But I think one of the key things that people would love to know right from the outset really is, what is it that you do and how did you end up being on my podcast?
Yes. So yeah, I always like to do things a little bit differently, find my own feet with it really. So I worked abroad when I've graduated from dance college doing shows, but also a little bit of children's entertainment. And I just realised I really loved working with children. And it wasn't an avenue that I ever thought I would go down initially. I always thought I would perform. So then when I sort of came back and, you know, you wanted a bit more stability after your contracts, I started doing some children's parties for friends and families. And people said, why don't you do classes? So I have got a business partner, and we found a church hall, as you do, started the classes, and we ran the parties as well alongside that. I think we thought, if we're going to do it, we might as well do it properly and have this really busy business that can offer lots of things. Because it's quite nice as a parent to come to one company that can do a lot of things that you're looking for. Eventually, we split the two businesses because we found that we wanted the dance school to be taken a little bit more seriously. And sometimes by having the fun and the silly children's entertainment, which we also loved, didn't always sort of sell us properly. So we carried on like that, which went really, really well. And then becoming a mum, and the Sunday work, particularly with the children's parties. If one of the young girls, they didn't really want me to be a princess. They wanted one of our young staff. But if they called in sick, I'd have to be there. And I just made the decision when I had my second child that I didn't think the party business was for me anymore, although I absolutely loved it. But I would get bored if I was just doing my dance school. So that's where Showtime came from.
Okay. So before we go any further, I am sensing a little bit of an entrepreneur here. Like, I've known you for a few years, and I've never seen that you are somebody that just, has a go, creates a business, and then just kind of sits on that. Like, I think you're a little bit like me. Like, it's what's next? What can excite me now? What other opportunities? What else is there in me? Like, what else am I capable of doing? Because just as backtrack a little bit, because there was lots in there. Started a children's party business, and that was actually, like, let's not skim over that, because that was really successful, wasn't it? Tell me about what that looked like when you used to do the parties.
I mean, it's actually crazy when I look back at it now, but we would have about 50 or 60 freelance entertainers on our books. We'd have a very busy WhatsApp group. Back in the day, I'd write each party in manually, but in the end, with technology, we evolved, and parents were booking us in online. They were finding us organically with marketing we were doing, and we were really, really busy. We then thought to ourselves, we want to expand, but we don't have the sort of the manpower to go into the local areas. So we took on 2 franchisees, and they had two sections of it was called Zebedee. It still is called Zebedee. It's still going. And then it was quite nice for me to then be a mentor to them and to teach them everything that I'd learned. And then it was quite also nice because it can be a bit lonely, can't it, being a dance boss? You might have, I do have an equal 50-50 business partner, which I just wouldn't be able to do it without, because you just need to talk to someone. But even there just being 1 or 2 of you, it's still quite lonely. So it was really nice having the other girls there. We used to have sort of strategy meetings once a month where we'd sort of work on how we were going to bring the business forward. And yeah, I think we worked it out once that we'd facilitated like over 10,000 parties.
Wow. This is the reason I wanted to just go back to that minute. When you were talking just now, it was like, we used to do a few little children's parties, and I think a lot of dance schools add parties on as a bit of an extra. They don't care too much about them, and if they get a half a dozen a year, that's fine. If they don't get any, they don't care. Like, this was a proper big business, a lot of parties, a lot of entertainers. You're managing a lot of different moving parts. And so I just wanted to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, so people know that, we weren't just talking about, 1 or 2 parties here or there. So you ran that, you started the dance school, which you've explained why you did that. And that has obviously grown over the years as well. How is the dance school?
Yes. I absolutely love it. Saturdays for me, I just wake up and I'm just, no matter what is going on, I'm just so happy to get to the studio. We have a really lovely team, which has taken a long time to build as well. But I'd say we have fantastic retention in our students and in our staff. And I know that lots of people's mottos are that they're treated like family, but you definitely feel that the second that you walk through our doors. And also, I think what's also happened is we've gone from a church hall, and now we hire a really lovely secondary school with state-of-the-art technology, with your mirrors, with the proper car park for the parents. A lot of people say, is the next step owning your own studio? And I've thought about it lots and lots of times, but actually I think we're so lucky with the facilities that we have at this secondary school. And I really think that's actually one of the key components to why we have become so successful, is because we have this great venue that people want to be a part of, where people want to come to.
Yeah. And, I know that that's just sparked a whole other episode. A whole other idea for another episode is, the studios, whether to, do I have my own, do I not? There's a big conversation around all of that. But, I sometimes do feel, it's not always the way you should be going. And if you've got a great facility that somebody else looks after, maintains, manages, and it's takes, state of the art, beautiful space, then are we going to be able to create that ourselves by leasing a place? Sometimes, absolutely. But sometimes it's actually better just to pay the hourly rate. And so that's, that is an interesting topic. So you've got a great location. The school is doing well. You've sold the party business, I believe. That's what you were saying earlier.
Yes. With COVID and everything, we saw so many party businesses collapse. But for us, we went online, we did doorstep visits, we definitely evolved in that time. So when we made the decision that it was probably not viable for us to keep going with the party business, because of the strain on the family, etc., I knew other companies that had just given away their stuff or stole their costumes. I thought, absolutely not. I want to train someone to be me. And we found an absolutely amazing, another duo actually, who have taken over Zebedee, and they are now doing, we did venture into corporate events and festivals and that sort of stuff, but they've really taken it by the horns, and they're doing amazing stuff now, and it's really lovely to see. And I'm still there, and every now and again they'll touch base with me or ask my opinion. And I've had Zebedee this year for both my daughters' parties. So, we're still very much in close contact, but it's lovely to see something that you've created live on.
Yes, fabulous. That's really gorgeous. And, interesting to see that happened as a result of having your second daughter. You had to make some decisions. Do I carry on being everywhere and everything in two big businesses, or do I, make the decision of I'm going to prioritize some more family time and let that one go? But having done that, then something else happened. The entrepreneur in us kicked back in, and you came up with an idea. And what's happened to that idea?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. We're so proud of where we've come. We're not quite one yet. We turn 1 year old on the 14th of June. Now, last year on the 14th of June, our production company put on a children's variety show at Brighton Theatre Market. Brighton Theatre. I can't even remember what it's called. Theatre Brighton. It was in Brighton, which was a fantastic venue, an amazing start. But this year, on the 14th of June, we were at the Shaftesbury Theatre West End. So literally in 1 year, all of our dreams have come true, because the West End venue was what the aim was to begin with. But they're incredibly hard to get hold of for a start. And then they have to vet you a little bit as to whether they want you to take part. But essentially what we offer is, because it's me and two other ladies, we all run dance schools. So we all know exactly how the principals feel, because the reason that sometimes people don't do external things, there's loads of paperwork that you still have to fill out. There's this has to be in by this date, this has to be in by that date. Sometimes emails can be contradictory, and it gets a bit So our sort of USP, if you like, is that you are literally dealing with dance school principals, and we streamline all the admin for you, and we bring you fantastic opportunities for your children to be able to perform on prestigious stages around the country. It's not just the West End or Brighton. So it's fantastic.
Amazing. So this is basically an events company that people can sign up to, so that their kids can get opportunities to perform in venues that are way bigger, more prestigious than perhaps they would be able to do if they were just dance school on their own. So do they go to these events and perform presumably with other dance schools as well that are there?
Yeah, so it's like a children's variety show. So we give everybody a number in Act 1, a number in Act 2, and they're also part of the finale. And we also found that when we were doing this with other companies, we might not be able to meet the cast size requirements, or we might not be able to, sell as many tickets as we were supposed to sell, because a lot of these things have ticket sales requirements. So what we've done as well is we've taken out some of the sort of sticking points that we found as principals. So we do have room for small casts. Ideally, it would be a cast between sort of 20 and 40 performers, but it can be more and it can be less. You just got to talk to us. Most venues allow all genres. Some venues are a bit funny with tap shoes, but we always tell you that. And it's venues that when I was a child and I went to dance school, I never, ever would have dreamt of performing at. And I just think it's absolutely amazing for children to be able to perform, next month we're at Blackpool Tower Ballroom, the home of Strictly Come Dancing, which we're really excited about. We've got, I think, about 500 kids in the cast across a matinee and an evening. And then, we've got Shaftesbury twice this year. And then if you keep an eye on our socials, hopefully one more time. We're just waiting for that to be confirmed. So, loads of people are joining in, and we've had honestly such wonderful feedback from both principals, from parents, and also from the theatres themselves. Because with the dance school, I've been hiring theatres for probably 10, 12 years, probably not when we quite first started. So we know about the licensing, we know about, the ratios, we know about the breaks, and I think it's quite refreshing for people to have children's variety shows come in, and we know what we're doing. We're like, we've got this. Here's all your paperwork.
I am just going to pause here for a second because I just want to check that you know all about my new software, Dance Business Solutions. And if you don't, then I would love to show it to you. You can book a demo where I will show you around the magic that I have created in Dance Business Solutions, and you can see just what it will do for your business. So from websites to selling events to managing your customers, managing your inquiries, creating surveys, planning your social media, it does a gazillion things. And they're all very exciting because I have pre-built most of it for you already using my wisdom and expertise as a dance business coach. So go to dancebusinesssolutions.com as soon as you've finished listening to my podcast and click on book a demo. And I cannot wait for one of my team to show you around. Paperwork's a really big thing, isn't it? Because I remember that we took some kids up to London to perform in the West End when I was a franchisee, and it just seemed like endless paperwork, even that we had to give to our franchisor, let alone what they had to deal with on their end. So you mentioned before that you take a lot of that off of the principal's plans. So presumably that means that it's a more doable kind of event. They don't have to get too involved with all of the organisation?
No, so essentially we send a pack and it has all the links in one place, because that's another thing. Sometimes I would be doing an external show. I'd know I needed to get something in, but I'd be like, where do I do it? What do I do? So it's all in one place. It's all sort of online. Obviously we've still got to produce the work. You've got to we've got to know the children that are taking part to be able to tell the local council, and a nice cast photo for the programme. But sort of other than that, it's all very, very basic, and exactly that, streamlined.
Yeah. And was this something that you had always thought that you'd like to do one day, or did this suddenly come to you over a glass of wine with your partner? Like, how did it formulate this idea?
So I have said I could go and see Beyonce and I could give her feedback. I'm absolutely no Beyonce myself, but, I always can see some room for improvement. And I think where we were then just focusing on the dance school because we had no children's entertainment company anymore. And also I needed to make up that income. So I was thinking, what's my next thing going to be? I think we went and did a performance. Everybody that we've worked with has been wonderful, by the way. And we're still very much in contact with lots of people that we've gone and done shows with as well. But it's like, as a principal, being in the principal's shoes, I think that's the main thing, really, is because you know exactly how difficult it is to extract information from your parents at times. So, and maybe from the council when you need to get a chaperone license or whatever. So we're super friendly and we get things done. And I just thought to myself, we can do this. We can do this. And obviously, it is actually at the weekend, ironically, when I was trying to free up my Sundays. But it's 4 or 5 times a year. And it's when you are a performer, to get back into the theatre yourself is just wonderful. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, kind of gives you that theatre buzz a few times a year.
Yeah.
So I'm just, what I'm aware of from having been around you for a little while is that you have an incredibly positive attitude around business. Like, I feel like you have an idea and you're like, right, well, then let's just go and do that. Like, let's work out how to do that. Let's graph, let's put the work in, let's make it a success. But it's not easy making a success out of business. Like, what do you think is one of the things that has helped you to kind of turn all your businesses into a success?
So I think there's no such thing as negative feedback. I will receive the feedback and I will think, okay, if it was slightly, this could be better or whatever, right, how are we going to make that better then? And actioning it and listening to your clientele, whether it's a mum at the dance school, whether now it's a principal of a dance school. One principal thought that when we did the finale last time, there should have been more of a chance for the girls to shine. And this time, we've changed our finale format slightly. And actually, I think it's fantastic. So especially now, we're such a new business, we're still learning and we make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. And I think it's owning that and just being like, right, okay, that's good. We know that now and we're not going to do it again. And I just think don't give up, really. I know it sounds a bit of a cliche. We've always said, me and my business partner, oh, well, we're going to take over the world. It's like Only Fools and Horses, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I'll be a millionaire, It's that sort of attitude, isn't it?
Do I get to call you Del next time I see you?
Yeah, maybe, Del boy. Well, it depends. If you think I'm from South East London, maybe.
So, I mean, I think that I was waiting to see actually whether it was something that you said about yourself, but to me, there feels like an incredible abundance of self-belief. And I think that is, I don't know if you agree, but I think that that's really necessary in business. Like, if you don't really believe that you can create what you put your mind to, then that can be a huge stumbling block, can't it?
Yeah, I'd completely agree, actually. And there has been times where I've doubted myself or, you have like low points. But I think if you really, really want it and you really want it to succeed, then you're going to make it happen. That would be sort of my advice, really, just to keep on going. And I also think what I will say, not so much with Showtime, fingers crossed, but you get a lot of copycats with the dance school and with the children's entertainment business particularly, and it can really break your heart and it can really make you feel like, oh, I trusted them, I told them this stuff and now they're doing this. But actually, it's just, you should be flattered, because they obviously look up to you, they obviously admire you, they obviously want to be you. That's why they're trying to imitate you, and then they're always one step behind because the next step's already in progress. So I think it's that car, the cup's half empty or it's half full, isn't it? So for me, it'd be half full.
Yeah, and I think that is a huge thing. It's a huge thing for me. I think having a positive can-do attitude, one layer that we need to be successful in business, having real self-belief in ourselves, which I think also then feeds into confidence, being a confident business owner. And like you say, none of us get it right first time. We're all still working out as we go along. But if you can go at things with a confident attitude that you can do things, you believe in yourself and you have a positive outcome, it's really hard then to not succeed in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to know, because I don't suppose this is the last. I don't suppose this is potentially the last business that you will do, or maybe because some of the businesses you've got will grow new wings or grow new arms to them. Like, is there even bigger vision, or are you living the dream, as we speak?
I think at the moment all of our shows are in the UK. I suppose we might look to branch out. I I get emails in my inbox, again, as a dance principal, about lots of other opportunities. And another thing I would probably mention is one of the other reasons that we actually started Showtime was because we were only being offered the same venues from a lot of the other people that are doing this. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to introduce at least 1 or 2 new venues every single year. We'll keep the firm favourites. I think Blackpool, Tower Ballroom, Shaftesbury Theatre, West End. I mean, they've been so popular. I imagine that we'll do them every year. But last year, as I said before, when I got the name right eventually, we were in Brighton. We were also in Croydon last year. And we are going to be in Bournemouth at the end of this year, which we've never done before. And we've actually announced it today on our social media that we're going to be at Warwick next year, Warwick Arts Centre. So it's, suppose for me, it's keeping new venues on the horizon. It's quite difficult to get through to the venues, I won't lie. But again, we don't stop at the first email. We keep on hammering at that door. And with the dance school, it's just to keep growing it, I think, really. Definitely. And I think just keeping everything, all the plates spinning, you know, just making sure that the home life, the business, everything's feeling, as it should. I mean, I mentioned at the beginning that I love Pilates. I feel like if I had to give up my Pilates, I have to scale back the business.
And, that's another side of business, isn't it? Making sure that you've created a business, not just that you love and that you're passionate about and that you can just keep growing, but one that then fits in with life, because obviously you've still got a young family, dogs, life for yourself outside of your business. And so how have you managed that kind of balance between your passion and your family and friends?
I must admit, Deborah, I think you taught me this, but it was putting boundaries in place. You know, I don't answer I have a work phone for a start. When I speak to lots of dance bosses and they say they don't have a work phone, I'm like, get a work phone, please get a work phone and have that new number as your new number. So no one else has got your work phone number, your personal number. So I'll set boundaries that way. I'll make sure that 1 or 2 Sundays a month, I have a family activity planned. You know, it might be going to the zoo, the aquarium, to a little theme park, or even just to the local park. You know, kids are happy just when they're with their families, aren't they? I enjoy a nice long dog walk every day with my dogs. I do apologise if you can hear one of my dogs. He's a bit crazy in the garden at the moment. So I think it's making sure not even once a week, once a month, just every day you take time for yourself. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I help people a lot with time blocking and making sure that they've got time for their marketing and time for their team and time for their attention, all the business side of things. But the other thing that I also help with is, and where do you fit into this? Where's the time blocking for you? Where's your Pilates class? Where's how many nights you want to be available to pick your kids up from school? Like, that has to be designed. And I must admit, I think my view has pivoted slightly since I worked with a coach that was very much about creating the lifestyle empire, not the business empire. Because at the end of the day, we can work really hard on creating a business, but if we're not careful, we end up with a business that then absolutely annihilates our lifestyle. And so it's, what is the life that I want to create for myself? And how can I build a business that supports and generates that life for me? And I think you have been really firm with your boundaries and you have worked out how to do this. And a lot of people listening are like, still trying to work this one out, Deborah. But I mean, I remember, just as an example for you that you're listening, I spoke to Debbie about 2.5 years ago about, where she was going to go with her coaching and her membership, because she was pregnant, she's having a baby, she wants to step back. So we brought her vice principal in to be able to take over some of the stuff, and she came into the membership. And we were talking about what this stepping back looked like, to have this lovely Penelope, that obviously is what was the outcome. I remember you saying, no, I'm not going to be available, like, at all. I was like, oh, right, okay, because you're stepping in. She's like, no, I'm not doing anything for 6 months. Like, I'm on 6 months maternity. Now, to most people, when they go on 6 months maternity, that just means they're not showing up and teaching all the classes. It means that they're still on their emails, they're still talking to parents, they're still solving problems, they're still talking to team, like, still pretty much working full time, whilst supposedly on maternity enjoying the new baby, and you're desperately trying to juggle the business and, you know, a newborn. But you literally were like, I'm off the planet for 6 months. I'm not answering an email. I'm not talking to a parent. I have delegated everything. And I think it's probably one of the first times I've actually seen someone fully do that. And you did literally do that, didn't you?
Absolutely. I was uncontactable for parents and for any. I mean, obviously, there was the odd thing that I was sort of put in the loop with, or if there was a big decision to be made, I would want to be part of that decision. But I'd very much be on my terms. I'd be like, well, Penelope sleeps between 12 and 2. You can call me at 12:30 because I'm going to have lunch at 12. But I don't know. You know, I am very bossy. I am a little, but you know, but I feel like with my team, we've got so much in place that they know that they're safe with me. They know they can come to me with things, and that they know. But then I also know that I can leave them to it. And it's probably good to mention as well that I don't really teach anymore. I teach 2 hours a week, and that's only been from this term because it's actually my daughter's class at Harlequins, and I felt like they needed some Disney Debbie, which was my little nickname when I used to perform as Disney Debbie. And I actually love it now, and I would like to keep that because it's not too high pressure, but it's only a couple of hours a week to choreograph, etc. But I feel like if you are doing it all, if you are answering emails at midnight, you know, you're neglecting the family a little bit because you're so busy, because you're teaching all the time, then, you know, you do need to step back and think, oh, how can I fix this? How can I take a breath? Because you're just going to burn yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's no part of you that's left to start new businesses and go after exciting new disco balls, I call them, you know, ideas that turn into, you know, more than just an idea, and then they become, you know, something that's actually very motivating and exciting for you. And so I think, you know, it's difficult to do those things and to move forwards and progress with ideas when you're very much just stuck in the daily to do of a current business. And I know that you know, recently you have joined my new membership, which hasn't launched yet, which is called Boardroom Bar. And Boardroom Bar is very much for people like you. If anybody has been looking at Boardroom Bar and have been thinking, you know, is that for me? Is that not for me? You need to be a little bit of a Debbie to be right for Boardroom Bar. And as you can see, a lot of it is about that entrepreneurial spirit. So I don't know if you're happy sharing, but are you happy just to talk a little bit about, you know, what was it about Boardroom Bar, which is, you know, it's for the dance world, it's a sizable investment. You know, what is it about that felt exciting for you that made you want to join?
I feel like with the Showtime Future Stars, we're still a baby, and we could probably do a little bit of a nurture from someone like yourself. But we're already doing really big things. So I don't need to be told how to automate my emails or to, you know, some things that other people might find really, really helpful. I already know that information. And with the dance school, we're really busy. We're just producing our first ever production of Matilda Junior next month, which is something that we haven't really done before. We're doing loads of new things. We're busy. We've got shows. We've got this, that, the other. But if I'm honest, my money is the same. And it's because people leave, people do this, you know, we're in a cost of living crisis. And I need to know how to get out of this bracket and move into the next one. And I know hands down that you will be able to help me do that. And I really liked the program. I liked the different elements of it. I like the experts. I like the away sort of aspects of it. I mean, you had me at Paris. You know, at a spa, but I think as well to be in a room of women that maybe have similar ideas to you or have done so much more than you, and I can learn off them, because sometimes when you're sitting around a table and it's always you speaking, it can get a bit not lonely, but you just want to push to that next level. Like I do often joke sometimes with some people that I work with, you know, if I take a sip of coffee, no one's talking because everyone's waiting for me to go again with the next idea. And I just feel like I need someone to help me elevate, and to talk to me about what I need to do.
Yeah.
The other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, obviously I'm very clever at knowing that just throw Paris and spa in there There's certain people that is saying absolutely attract. Who does not want to talk business sat in a jacuzzi? Like, okay, if I'm completely honest, I think I've just created something that I want to do. But apart from that, no, I think you're absolutely right. And the way you're going with your business, you're very clearly a strong, independent businesswoman with great ideas, and not just ideas, but the ability to really follow them through and create successful businesses. But for me, it was all about, where did those people go next? There are so many business masterminds out there for people that are doing way bigger than the two of us. People that are multi-7-figure businesses. There's business masterminds and containers out there that serve those people. But there's nothing that kind of is the next level within our industry. And so it was really important for me that you could go somewhere that would elevate you, that would give you some wonderful experiences, support, encouragement, but where you would be with other people that were of a similar kind of standard and level to yourself. And I think that, you will undoubtedly give some great advice to people that are also going to be in the first cohort of Boardroom Bar. You will have some experiences, some determination, some positivity, some heavy Disney energy. That's going to be great for everybody else. But I think there's going to be a place where you're going to really feed off of everyone else too. Because sometimes, like you say, when you already have a successful business, you end up being the only person in the room that can give.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to give back to you, which is, just only because you've been successful. But it's nice for you to be somewhere where, it's time for you to also be able to take from people that are able to help. So that's an exciting, where we're going to have a fantabulous. That's a brand new word. Instead of mentioning Disney, now all types of made up Disney words coming out. A fantabulous year in Boardroom Bar. I suppose the last thing I'd love to ask you really is, if you were looking at a 16-year-old Debbie and you were able to give her some advice, what would you say? No, let me change that. 21-year-old Debbie that's just starting out in business, what advice would you give to her?
So I was 21, actually. Please don't do the maths. When I started the dance school and the pit party business, I mean, the obvious one is believe in yourself, but it's a cliche for a reason, because you really do have to believe in yourself and you have to believe in your decisions. And also I think sometimes when I first started, if somebody did come to me and they had an opinion, because we know our parents have got lots of lovely opinions, and sometimes I think that's a great idea, I would take it as gospel that I had to do that. The ballet class should be at 5:15. Okay, I'll change that. So I think I would just stick to my guns. Would be, follow your instinct, follow your gut. Normally, if your gut is telling you something isn't right, it's not right. And yeah, probably not be so much of a workaholic in the beginning as well, actually, 7 days a week working till very, very late at night. But then potentially that's why we are where we are now. So take a breath, do some Pilates.
Absolutely. And that's interesting, because I think if I was to go back until I think I was 24 when I started my school, I think I would probably also say, don't allow the business to consume your whole life, because that's definitely the business that I then ran for 25 years. And I think the problem is, at the end of that, is we kind of lose ourselves. Like, our whole identity is wrapped up in our business. And, where's 24-year-old Deborah gone? Like, I'm still here. And I'm kind of getting back to me now. But for so many years, the parents, the students, the teachers, just the pressure of running a business, like, consumed everything and made me everything that I was. And so I love that you would give yourself that advice. Don't let the business kind of take over yourself. Keep time for yourself. Listening, and you are starting out in business, or maybe you've been running your business for years. Maybe it's time to really think, how do I restructure so they get a bit more of me back, a bit more of life back, like Debbie did when she, had her maternity, and how she makes choices now for her family and for herself, so that you all get to do your Pilates classes twice a week.
Highly recommend.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure. So Showtime Future Stars is your new business. So if you are a UK-based dance school, obviously, please do go and find Debbie. Have you got a website, Debbie?
Have got a website, showtimefuturestars.com, and we're on socials at Showtime Future Stars.
Fabulous. And I'm sure you've got some wonderful events that people can get involved with if they want to. And if they're not needing any events, I'm sure that they've taken some inspiration from you today in terms of what you've done, where you're going, how you've got there. And hopefully everybody is going to follow in your footsteps, creating a lovely work-life balance. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
So I wanted to tell you that this episode is kindly sponsored by Sally at Dance Studio Marketing, who is your go-to solution for growing your dance school through the power of social media. So if you're feeling overwhelmed at trying to attract new students, at Dance Studio Marketing, Sally helps dance studio owners just like you to leverage the power of social media and paid ads to bring in a steady stream of students, which of course helps you to achieve more balance in your life. So if you're ready to grow with less stress, visit sallyprendergast.com, or you can connect with Sally at Dance Studio Marketing on your favorite social media platform today. My clients are getting fabulous results using Sally. So let's get those ads going and let's get your school growing.